Good morning, everyone. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their schedule to attend, including our speakers for participating in the first Create Union Construction Career Pathways virtual workshops. I'm Alicia Garcia Abner, President of Trino, Inc.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Williams. I am the Chief of Operations for Trino, Inc. Please note that this webinar will be recorded and published on the Create website, Create's YouTube channel, and distributed on other outlets as an educational tool for interested parties that are not able to attend today's workshop. Other housekeeping items. Everyone will be muted except the presenters. During question and answer, use the chat feature, please. For Windows, use the Alt-Y key. For Mac users, the Option +Y. And for your Android or phone, tap the raise your hand icon. Use chat to send in questions or comments. After this event, please follow up with Trino and mail KL staff. Our contact information will be shared. Alicia?
Thank you, Melissa. Trino is a diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting firm, and we assist our clients in developing, facilitating, implementing, monitoring, and reporting on their diversity-related initiatives. On Create, which is the Chicago Regional Environmental and Transportation Efficiency Program, we are charged with activities around community engagement with a focus on workforce hiring initiatives. As we move forward with our program, I wish to thank Parsons, which is providing professional design services for the 75th Street Corridor Improvement Project, the Forest Hill Junction flyover, and the 71st Street grade separation, known as the 71st Street SIP, P3, and GS19. Parsons is our direct client on this project. Also wish to thank IDOT, CSX, and Norfolk Southern for also working to ensure these workshops were facilitated. I want to specifically thank our Create partners, Metro Strategies, various union representatives, and other workforce-related organizations that's participating in this workshop this morning. Next slide, please. As you can see, here is an agenda, which is also made available on the website. So we're going to start with our welcoming remarks, why this is a great time to consider a career in construction, upcoming construction trade areas providing work on the project, our Highway Construction Careers Program, which was held at Dawson Technical Institution, the Operating Engineers Local 150 Apprenticeship Program, the Chicago Federation of Labor, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9, and potential opportunities when working with union signatories and other organizations on upcoming Chicago area projects. Next steps, and then we're going to allow for questions and answers. And as Melissa mentioned, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. As you can see, we have a number of Create partners that are involved in this fabulous project that we're going to talk a little bit about as to how to get into the union when seeking opportunities on this project. Again, we want to welcome everyone. I believe we may have a representative here from IDOT. Is that representative present?
Okay. It looks like his audio is still connecting, so we'll circle back. Thanks.
Okay. Again, we're Trino, Inc. I'd like for someone from Melco Group, which is another diversity firm that's working on the Create project.
Yes, Alicia, I'm here. Thank you for allowing us to participate in this very important workshop. Melinda Kelly.
Thank you, Melinda. And Tom Livingston is with CSX. And Norfolk.
Good morning. Glad to talk to everybody this morning here from Bedford Park, our main terminal here in the Chicago area. Outside my window here are many, many thousand containers being exchanged and moved. And to make that happen in Chicago, we need to invest in Chicago in terms of construction and capacity projects. So really appreciative of our partners here this morning. Glad to be involved with this, and we need people. Railroading is a people industry. It has to have a strong workforce, but also the partners we work with, like Parsons and other construction organizations, need people too that are qualified, so that when we do flyovers or other projects, we're ready to go. So Chicago is the Super Bowl of railroading. There is no stronger place in North America in terms of container traffic. And so we're just delighted to work with so many people to make it work. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you, Tom. Next slide, please, with the CSX video. We seem to be having some technical difficulties, but this is a video demonstrating CSX's culture and their commitment to diversity.
My apologies. Are you having difficulty sharing? Okay, the sound. Sorry about that.
A backbone of the American economy, an innovator of transportation technology, a leader in railroad safety, a team that embraces diversity. Welcome to CSX. We're powered by a force of over 19,000 railroaders, moving us forward on 20,000 miles of rail across 23 states, DC, and 2 Canadian provinces, with a commitment to being America's best run railroad. Best in service, best in safety, best in sustainability. Today's CSX is breaking new ground in rail transportation efficiency and setting new standards of performance. We're excited about the future, and so are the people taking us there. We are a company of opportunities, a company that develops employees to be their very best. Every day at CSX is a new day to move America. A new day to discover how far we can go. Come to CSX and set your course for the future.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Tom Livingston, who is the head of state government relations and community affairs at CSX, which CSX has demonstrated their commitment in recently hiring a number of Chicago area individuals who were graduates of the HCCTP program, which is coming up shortly during our presentation. Now I'd like to turn it over to the next slide, please. Norfolk Southern, to Mr. Herbert Smith, the Regional Vice President of Governmental Relations, will begin.
Alicia, thank you so much. And thank you so much for our fellow panelists who are participating today, along with those participants who are interested in these union pathways. This type of workshop, when Tom refers to it with Chicagoland being the Super Bowl of freight, it really is. And we're trying to create a model here for these opportunities with a long runway. And so this visibility that we're highlighting here on this slide with Norfolk Southern is replicated with what CSX will be doing, with what Metro will be doing, with what Union Pacific will be doing here in the coming years. And given that there is a long runway here and there are opportunities that are ongoing, we encourage you to visit the CREATE website, www.createprogram.org. Join the listserv, because all of these projects that you see here will be are publicly available, and we're giving you this opportunity to have visibility into the opportunities that are coming down the pipeline. For just Norfolk Southern, we have several opportunities in which our panelists later today will be speaking about within the engineering design opportunities, including for funding that's been secured for the CREATE EW3A project. A lot of surveying work, construction permitting as part of engineering design for a project that will go to construction beginning in 2022. And then we also have a lot of bridge design and track design work that will be part of the EW3B and CREATE EW2 projects. Also, if you join the listserv, you'll get notices of that. There'll be opportunities to network with the prime consultants and contractors that will be part of these teams that will be working for the next several years on these projects. We hope to eventually secure additional funding to build out. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been secured, hundreds of millions more dollars we intend to try to secure in the coming years. And then for construction, in the fall of 2022, approximately, we have noise abatement wall construction funding that has been secured for the EW3A project, along with railroad bridge repairs that will be part of that. Next slide, please. Also, within the freight ecosystem is not just CREATE opportunities for construction and engineering design work and environmental and community outreach, but also just the day-to-day opportunities. Each of our websites, corporate websites, are available through the CREATE program. I encourage you to visit the Norfolk Southern website, CSX website. Always opportunities, predominantly union opportunities. Over 80% of our workforce is union within the rail industry. And then our intermodal contractor opportunities in your very neighborhoods. Those are always ongoing. And so there are hundreds of job opportunities throughout Chicagoland at any time that are union workforce, whether it's for the railroad or for our contractors, for the equipment maintenance, for the big lift equipment machines that lift the intermodal containers, more than 8 million that pass through Chicagoland every year on and off of rail cars and onto chassis. And then, of course, for the rail cars themselves and maintaining them with our contractors and entities that we own through the TTX. Encourage you to visit those websites and to explore those opportunities as well. Next slide, please. And this is just a flavor of the types of jobs that are open and available right now, from welders to general laborers. And so when you visit these websites, these are the types of jobs that you'll see. The union pathways that will be explained by the panelists later today. Encourage you to stay in touch with us. And if you have any follow-up questions, all of our contact information will be available that Alicia will be posting later. With that, thank you so much.
And thank you so much. And now we will move on to, I believe we may have some representatives here from IDOT. If Mr. Samuel Tuck will speak, we greatly appreciate it.
Testing, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad for everyone to be able to join us today for this presentation. Hold on one second, please. Sorry about that, everyone. But I'm just glad for everyone to be able to join us here today. One of the things is very imperative that we understand about working together and looking at trying to make sure that we can obtain this future grants. We've already heard about the infrastructure bills that's going to be coming out. The main thing is working together. One of the key components in obtaining grants is making sure there's some type of social justice, making sure that there's environmental justice, and that's working within the communities. Job creations, with a huge infrastructure bill is coming out, we need to make sure that we check that box for those criteria. So the one thing is to bring these grants, get a part of some of this infrastructure bill that's coming out. We need to work together and start to look at that. We want to be in a position where state of Illinois is going to get a whole bunch of funds. And these are some of the things that we're talking about today. How do we incorporate people within projects? How do we work with the unions and so forth? And to make sure that everybody's able to get a piece of that pie, because it's going to be a big pie there. And we just want to make sure that we're in compliance. And it's great that we're having this presentation to get a good understanding. So when we do apply for those grants, we're there. We're able to go ahead and say we can check that box. And everyone should be fruitful in this. Union employees, railroad employees, everybody. So thank you, Alicia, for just letting me have that opportunity to say that.
Thank you, Sam. Greatly appreciated. Now we'll have Representative John Ritondo from the Chicagoland Laborers District Council Training and Apprenticeship Fund Program. John?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Alicia. I'm happy to be here presenting our apprenticeship program here that we have at the Laborers Union, and very exciting time in construction in the Chicagoland area. This sounds like a tremendous opportunity for everyone involved. So I will take the time here to explain our program. It's a 2-year apprenticeship program where applicants get sponsored by a contractor. So our signatory contractors in the Chicagoland area would sponsor an apprentice applicant through our online system on our website, Chicago Laborers Training and Apprenticeship Fund website. And I said it's a 2-year program. They would receive 2,400 hours of on-the-job training during that period. They start off with being on probation for the first 500 hours of their apprenticeship. And they come in for 9 classes spread out through the 2 years. Approximately every 3 months, they come in for 1 week of training. That accumulates to 360 hours. There's 9 classes. So they come in for 9 weeks of training. They receive increases in pay. There's 4 pay periods of raise in between, spread out every 6 months through that 2-year period. So right now we're starting apprentices at $27.54 an hour. That's 60% of what a journey worker makes. Currently, our journey workers are making $45.90 an hour. So our construction craft laborers working for our contractors on many jobs throughout the Chicagoland area, the contractors will sponsor apprentices to our program once they apply with the contractor and generally receive a sponsorship letter that's filled out online that we take in here at the training fund. That's kind of like the highlights of the program. Benefits are great. They receive during their first 500 hours, they'll have full benefits just as a journey worker would have. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone on the panel may have at this time.
No, but John, thank you. And if you can be available, so if there's any questions afterwards, we greatly appreciate it.
I will be. Thank you, Alicia.
Now we're going to move into our segment, our next slide, which is why this is such a great time to consider a career in a construction trade industry. There had been a time where we didn't see many cranes around, but now even during the pandemic, this is a great area to really consider your career options. To speak on that, we have representatives from Cisco, Dan Allen. Dan, if you'll say a few words. which will be followed by Jamila Muhammad.
Sure. Thanks so much, Alicia, and really excited to be part of the CREATE program. As John just spoke and the other previous speakers, this is a great opportunity, and you do need to get prepared for any kind of opportunity. So between the baby boomers retiring and a number of infrastructure funding in the pipeline, and as you stated, Alicia, even the private sector cranes coming in here, there is going to be a need for all the various trades. So Cisco represents over 8,000 union contractors and 140,000 skilled union workers in 22 different trades. And each trade has a little different entry requirement. A number of the trades that are unique to the CREATE program are all in the Cisco umbrella. So I'm going to let Jamila Muhammad, our new education and careers expert, talk a little bit about the requirements and how to do it, and give some of the website information and different information that we have that could assist people that are trying to have careers in these great industries. Jamila?
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. My name is Jamila Muhammad. As Dan said, I would like to thank Trinal for the opportunity to come to you guys and speak today. I wanted to go over some of the basic requirements of getting into the union trades. So most of the trades, you have to be 18 years of age, have a high school diploma or GED, a valid driver's license, and have strong math skills. Now, the IBEW is the only trade that will ask you to have a C or better in algebra. Other than that, strong math skills, definitely a plus. You must be drug-free. Some trades do a urinalysis, while other trades do a urinalysis and a hair follicle examination. You must be able to pass an aptitude test. This will be basic algebra, mechanical comprehension, and something called paper folding. You must be able to work in the United States. The wages for going through the trades is $50,000 to $100,000 per year. That's after you top out. And topping out is what the trades call graduating from your apprenticeship program. But while you're an apprentice, you will start off with $25,000 to $33,000 a year, depending on what trade you go into. But all trades give you a raise every 6 months. And you also receive benefits. Health insurance and your pension is always paid by the employer. It doesn't come out of your check. So really quick, the greatest thing about serving an apprenticeship, our tuition is free. That means that there is no cost to you while you serve this apprenticeship. Whereas if you choose to go to college, you have to pay financial aid, things like that. And sometimes you accumulate debt. Whereas when you're in a trade, you're making $55,000 to $100,000 a year debt-free. So if you're looking for information on what trades are accepting applications right now, you can go to cisco.org. Cisco typically posts what trades are accepting applications at that time, along with the qualifications to get into that specific trade. It's very important to see what trade you want to go into and what they're looking for specifically. What I gave you earlier is just a basic for all the trades. You can also contact the apprenticeship program directly. You can also find that information on cisco.org if you go to the apprenticeship guide, and it will give you a brief synopsis of all the trades, contact information, what they do, how long the apprenticeship is. Most trades are 2 to 5 years, depending on what trade that you go into. Or you can visit the local IDES AIC office. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions at the end, I will be available for those questions.
Thank you so much, Jamila. Greatly appreciate it. Now we're going to have a representative from Trans Systems. Trans Systems is the construction management firm that is working on the CSX component of the project. Mike Evans.
Thank you, Leisha. Welcome again to the webinar, everybody, for the Create project. Again, my name is Mike Evans, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. As you heard from a few of our presenters already, getting into the union is a process. In over my 25 years, I've hired thousands of union workers that come in and work for the railroad. So I want to talk to you about how you can get some of those jobs. As of 2020, there were approximately 135,000 union railroad workers in Class 1 railroads. And I'm going to show you how today to get a few of those careers started. First thing is that I would make a list and pre-apply and get pre-approval from all the railroads. That's CSX, NS, UP, Amtrak, all the major players, CN and the CP railroads all take pre-approval. You can sign up for notifications, and they will send out notifications to your email when there's a job available. So that's one of the things that I would do first to get into the union on the railroad side of the road. And the other thing is that most of the railroads look to hire their employees between December and March. Between December and March, I'll tell you, is probably the easiest way to get in because, as this job is outside the majority of the time, and most people don't want to work outside in the Christmas, around Christmas time, the holidays, in the cold weather, rain, sleet, snow. I'd say railroad workers in general or postmen on steroids. They work 365 days a year in every type of weather you can imagine. And it's a great career. It has been great to me. And second, when applying at the railroad, what I would tell you to do is be willing to travel. Lots of opportunities all over the country with the big roads. And really, that is your way to success through the ranks. Kind of how it works through the railroad is, once you get on board, if you get into your class as a welder, your seniority is everything in the union and the railroad. So with the retirees that are going on and the turnover in the railroad industry, it's a good opportunity to get on a railroad at this time. Second, in this big, huge project that we're going under here with the P3 and GS19 that I'm currently overseeing for CSX, I would tell everybody to get on an American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organization. These organizations will have a list of the union halls that are accepting applications for apprenticeships. For example, you heard the laborers already speak, but this job is going to have laborers and carpenters and iron workers and machine operators and electricians that are all going to be working under contractors in the area. So I would look under those organizations or reach out to those organizations in your area. And again, these will all play a big role. And lastly, the IDOT TPG program, which you're going to hear later. I think the next presenter actually is going to get in more detail there. But if you're in college, it's Dawson Technical College, South Suburban College, Rock Valley College. These are some of the areas that IDOT and TPG, when we start talking to our contractors that are looking to start these programs inside the Create project, this is where we direct them. This is where you go to school, and they're going to give you a heads up. They're going to give you some hands-on training that's going to be very successful for the opportunity to get into one of these unions. And a quick story on the project already. Currently, we've had one of these select the TPG program employees came in as a labor hall and is now moved on and is in an electrician apprenticeship. So that is a great example of what we do and how we want to do things. And again, all these organizations apply and have job listings. Again, that'll be under the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations. Thank you, Alicia, for letting me present today.
And thank you, Mike, because you've got some exciting times coming up as soon as that construction really gets going full force. So thank you again. Next, we're going to talk about the Highway Construction Careers Training Program at Dawson Technical Institution. Lisa Cockerham, I'm excited and waiting to hear what you have to say.
Good morning, everyone. Alicia, thank you so much for having me, especially being on the panel with the superstars that you've got together today. So I am here to tell you about the Highway Construction Careers Training Program. This program is fully sponsored by the Illinois Department of Transportation, and it was created in partnership with the Federal Highway Administration in late 2009. And the purpose of HCCTP is to give minorities, women, and other underserved individuals access and opportunities within the construction industry. So our goal is to place people in employment with union contractors and or with union apprenticeship programs. And so Ms. Evans mentioned TPG. So that is a term that stands for training program graduates. And on a lot of the pre-construction notices, you'll see trainee hours. And for those union contractors, which I'll mention a little bit later, they will get reimbursed for hiring training program graduates. So TPG is like the gold ticket. Next slide. So the incentives, again, those contractors and subcontractors with work on IDOT projects, they are actually reimbursed $15 for hiring HCTP grads. And so it's win-win-win. In addition, the students that participate in our training program, this program is provided to them at no cost. They receive supportive services, which actually means a stipend, as well as supplies, training tools, work boots, and much more, all at no cost. And so we want to make sure that people are ready, interested, and able to fully commit to the program and be prepared for work immediately after graduating. Next slide. We have been quite successful with placing our graduates in many high-profile projects across the region. We've had students to work on the 75th Street SIP project, the Inglewood Flyover, as well as CTA's RPM project, and a host of other developments across the area. We have graduates that are working currently with union contractors in the roles of carpenters, laborers, cement masons, electricians, equipment operators, pipe fitters, plumbers, technical engineers, as well as project managers. And so one of the most fulfilling things is to see people leave Dawson in 16 weeks and walk straight into a career. And I knew about construction and the industry, but I had no idea all of the many areas for students to gain employment. And so we just ask that the students be open and interested in a career in construction. We train them and then they leave, and the goal is to get them placed with employment with union contractors. Next slide. So the qualifications for this program are similar to all of the union programs. And so you must be over the age of 18 with a valid driver's license, as well as a high school diploma or GED. We test students, you must score the 11th grade or higher in math and English, as well as be able to pass drug screening tests that are upon acceptance, as well as throughout the duration of the program. And sometimes there's a challenge because marijuana has been deemed legal in Illinois. However, we let students know that it's not acceptable for this program or in the trades. And so we definitely screen throughout the program for drug use. Next slide. So these are some photos just from our classes, just so you can see what the curriculum entails. The students are here for 16 weeks and the curriculum is extensive, rigorous, and we cover classes in blueprint reading, carpentry, next slide, electrical theory, interior construction, as well as plumbing and welding. Students get their OSHA 10 and forklift license, as well as CPR first aid. We want to make sure that they have a solid foundation, and when they leave here, they're able to go within any union apprenticeship program. And so we focus on those math skills throughout the entire project or program. We offer HCCTP here twice a year at Dawson. And so our next class starts next week. It's filled right now, but we definitely keep an active recruitment list ongoing. And the program is offered twice a year. So it's offered in the fall, and then another session will begin in January. Next slide. So at Dawson, we are focused on construction technology. These are a list of our other programs here. We offer basic certificates in construction carpentry, construction masonry, combination welding, plumbing, and fire protection. We have advanced certificates in gas utility worker, as well as overhead electrical line worker. And then we offer a 2-year associate's degree in construction management. And so with our partnership with Trino, we've been fortunate to have quite a bit of exposure with the railroad industry as well as with additional contractors. And so we've had presentations with CSX, and CSX has committed to interviewing as well as hiring many of our graduates that submitted applications. So in addition to highway construction graduates, there were as a student from our welding program that has been doing very well. So we definitely appreciate this opportunity to share information about Dawson, but also connect with everyone that is here today. Next slide. For more information, and if you are interested in participating in HCCTP or hiring a graduate, please feel free to contact me, Lisa Cockerham, and my information will be shared with others at the end of the presentation, as well as on the screen now. And for enrollment in any of our other construction technology programs, our academic advisor, Mr. Jerome Balfour, will be the contact person.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much. Yes, you have a fabulous program over there. And
Thank you.
Thank you for being one of our partners. Next, we're going to have a representative from the Operating Engineers Local 150 Apprenticeship Program, Daphne Jackson, who is the Recruitment and Diversity Specialist. Daphne.
Hi, you guys. Like she said, my name is Daphne. I am the Diversity Recruitment Specialist for Local 150. Local 150 takes applications once a year, and what we are considered an assist trade. So in other words, we assist all the other trades at getting the overall job done utilizing heavy equipment. With Local 150, there's a number of different machineries or heavy equipment that you can be introduced to and operate. Anything from, working on barges to rail yards to, mining, road work. There's a lot of different areas that you can go into. We offer 4 different programs that you can apply for. Piggybacking off of Jamila, you have to be 18 years or older, high school diploma or GED, and a valid driver's license. We also do drug tests with operating heavy equipment. We understand that marijuana is legal in Illinois, but it's not tolerated with us. With that being said, we offer 4 different programs. We have our operators program. It's based on 4 years of training, however, 6,000 on the job training hours. We have our material testers and building inspectors. Basically, those are the ones that are on the job sites telling the contractors or the engineers at what durability or what mixture you need your asphalt or your concrete to be mixed at to withstand a structure or the roadways. We hire our own technicians. The technicians program is based on 5 years, but 8,000 on the job training hours. Reason being is you'd have to be able to operate and fix everything that we have on our site, any piece of equipment that we possess. And then we also have our geothermal well drilling, which is going green, but basically you'd have to be an operator in that program, and it's basically digging wells. So with that being said, we look at Local 150 actually covers Northern Illinois, Northern Indiana, and Southeastern Iowa. So what we're looking for is we score our applications. So we're looking for any of those shop classes you would have taken in high school, whether it be the welding, the woods, the metals, things like that. If you do not have shop classes, noting that CPS does not have all public schools that offer shop classes, then you can actually earn points just on your GPA. So we allot 10 points for schooling, which if you don't have those shop classes, then those that carry a 3.0 GPA or better for all 4 years can earn 8 out of the 10 points just with that. Otherwise, I would suggest, pre-apprenticeship, Dawson Tech, Kennedy King, CWIT, things like different places or organizations that offer that pre-apprenticeship program where you can gain some of the know-how and the skills coming to us. The other part is we give you 10 points for your work history. Now you can earn points off of, maintaining the job for 5 years or more. But with that, we're also looking for machine experience. So if you guys have worked in warehouses, landscaping companies, things like that, where you've had some intro to a piece of equipment, whether it be a forklift, stand up, reach, sit down, cherry picker, whatever, that gives us some idea that you know how to operate. So what we do typically is we'll bring in the top scores. So our applications are allotted 25 points, and we bring in those top scores for evaluations. There won't be an aptitude test because the math that we will have you utilize will teach you. What you actually come in, you're called in for an evaluation. It's a 2-week evaluation. And after that, if you are, selected, then you go out on our out of work list. Now we have business agents and exclusive hiring halls. So business agents will actually search for your next opportunities, things like that. And the halls will call you. Your job would be to learn as much as possible by staying out in the training site whenever you're laid off to learn other pieces of equipment, because our hiring halls work basically as first come, first serve. So if you're the first person to be laid off, you'll be the first person to be called back with some type of, those that have more machine experience will probably qualify for different jobs outside of those that only have one machine experience, which is why we stress, get down here and learn as many pieces of equipment as possible if you make it in. There are some advantages to living in rural areas, keeping in mind that if you're coming from a heavily populated area, you have a lot of competition to compete with. So with that being said, if you're applying from a rural area where, as I said, we have southeastern Iowa, things like that, Burlington, we don't get a lot of applicants. So your chances of coming in would be a lot higher than coming in from Chicago, but that's not to discourage any applicants from Chicago, because we actually have a lot of pre-apprenticeships that are helping to boost people in as well. Just heads up that there's more competition in a heavily populated area. Also, with that being said, our starting salary is about the same, about $26 an hour, give or take, depending on your job. Like I said, there's a number of jobs you can do. And your first raises are about $8 or $9 each year. Our journeyman's wages are about 56 an hour. If you guys are not afraid of heights, downtown Chicago, we have a lot of tower cranes out there. Tower crane operators can earn up to 150 an hour. Anything over 8 hours is usually double time. They work 12-hour shifts. If they're called in on a Saturday and they're at that 150 max, then they will come in at $300 an hour, keeping in mind that nothing will come out of your check but taxes and union dues. Benefits of most unions is you're going to get all of your benefits covered in some type of package. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Daphne. You had quite a few slides though. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I mean, that's just basically giving you some breakdown what our main flyer gives out as to a little bit of information on each program. The geothermal well drilling, like I said, you'd have to be an operator, but that's that going green part. So it just tells you a little bit more on the different sections that I already broke down. We have the 4 different programs. And just some ideas of different machines that you would operate coming through us. The skid steers are the smaller ones, rough terrain forks, track loaders, you name it, tower cranes. So yes, that just gives them a little idea of the type of machines that you would be on and training on.
That's great. Again, Daphne, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Moving along, we're going to have a representative from the Chicago Federation of Labor, Mr. Marcus Shepard, who's the Director of Organizing. Marcus?
Good morning, everybody. Our Secretary of Treasurer, Don Villar, is going to get on as well here in a second. I know he was just finishing up a call, so I apologize about that. But just to kind of go through, the Chicago Federation of Labor covers just about all of the labor here in Chicago area. So we represent a lot of affiliates, and then do a lot of helping with getting them manpower, stuff like that, especially from the organizing standpoint. And with that, as somebody who started in the building trades and went from apprentice to journey person to working on staff in different varieties. The main thing that I can say for the men and women that's on a call who are looking for opportunities is one, always be humble and patient. That's going to be your biggest takeaway. If you take away nothing else, be humble and be patient, because it is a process. It's steps, and one, understanding those steps, being able to identify that these are more than just jobs. And I say that because it's, again, someone who's been through every step of the process. Starting out, I started out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, going through what we here at the Chicago Federation call Hire 360 is big step. And so I've been through the process of going through those training processes in order to get into the trades, because every step is very difficult. And what it taught you, what it taught me, is that you have to be patient with the process. You have to be willing to go through the process. These are, again, more than just jobs. These are careers. And I think all the men and women who spoke about their specific entity can tell you they're more than just jobs. These are careers. And with the career, you have to be understanding that, you know, it's not your typical 9 to 5. You have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to understand that, you know, 5 minutes early is 5 minutes late. With these careers, you want to be half an hour early. You want to be on point. You want to have your tools, your gear ready to go. You want to be stepping on a job knowing that, guess what, when I step in here, I'm putting everything I got into it. Otherwise, I can tell you now, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. And I'm gonna tell you even more than that, that as Black men and women, brown men and women, you have to be above and beyond to excel, because it's going to be that much harder to make sure that you get through and you come out on the other end, not as just somebody in labor with a career, but somebody who's looking forward to making the best out of their opportunity. Because the doors are very hard. You're fighting against a lot of men and women who want to keep their employment, a lot of men and women who come in who want to get into this, and then you're fighting against contractors who are paying an exceptionally amount of money in order to have you there. Again, I think it was mentioned earlier that most of these careers take you up to 100,000 or more a year, and on top of that 100,000 a year, you also getting benefits. And I mean, that is nothing to sneeze at. So best believe that the employers are watching. They want to make sure that they're getting the best of the best. So please be 100% on your game when it comes to these opportunities. I don't think anybody here wants to waste time and effort. And that's where I'm telling you from experience that you have to be on your game, and you have to know that you coming into organizations that want to see you succeed. They want to see themselves succeed, and they want the best on both ends. One, working with their contractors, and two, working with you in order to make sure it's a win-win situation. As I mentioned, the Chicago Federation of Labor, you know, we are very supportive to all of our affiliates, and our job here is to make sure that we're one, bringing them the best, but two, also doing the best on their behalf to make sure that they succeed and they're winning each and every day. And I'm pretty sure whenever Don gets on, again, I apologize, that he's going to go over more in depth in those areas and stuff like that and how it relates from create to labor. But that was the piece that I at least wanted to share, because again, it is incumbent to know that these opportunities come, but you have to take full advantage of them in order to succeed. So, Alicia, I give it back to you. And I apologize again. Don was just finishing up. Me and her was just messaging.
Okay, Marcus. Then we'll go to our next speaker and then we'll circle back to Don. Now we'll have a representative from the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the AFL-CIO, Local 9, Kevin Shustner. Kevin?
We will have to circle back. It seems as if he dropped.
Okay. As we're waiting for Kevin and also Don, our next speaker, Jay Raul with Hire 360 will be on shortly also. He is also on another call finishing up. But we're hopeful that the information that you have been provided so far has been very beneficial to you. Again, a number of the projects that we have going on with Create are in different areas. There's going to be great opportunities. A lot of the construction, however, won't start until the latter part of the year, more so next year. As such, this forum is being provided to give you an opportunity to learn about how to be in the union, simply because the majority or all of the contractors on these projects will be signatories to the union, meaning that their workforce has to be members of the union. As such, there's great programs out there. There are opportunities out here. And one of the great things about going into the construction trade areas is that in so doing and getting into these apprentice programs, you don't leave with having a student loan. All of this is paid for you, okay? Except for maybe the application fee. And I understand one of our representatives are going to talk about how that application fee is now being covered as well. I'd like to circle back to Jamila for a few minutes, in that she's had such experience in construction before she took on this new position. Jamila, did you want to share anything given your experience while working yourself up into the ranks of the union?
Yeah, sure. So before I started with Cisco, I'm actually a member of the IBEW 134, communications electrician. Their school is out in Alsip, Illinois. They also have a training facility at Westside Tech. So I got in back in 2011. Before I got in, I had 3 jobs. And what Marcus was saying earlier, like he hit everything on the head, because it really is a sacrifice that you have to make. And when you get into this type of situation, you have to really look at the bigger picture. And my bigger picture was getting through my apprenticeship program. And in order for me to do that, I knew that I had to quit all 3 of my jobs. Because what you do is you basically do your classes, it's full time, but it's at an accelerated rate. Most of the trades, you might be in class for a week. Some you might be in for 9 weeks or 8 weeks. For me, it was 8 weeks. So I was doing all of my classes all at once. And then I do my on-the-job training. Was afforded the opportunity to become a delegate of the Chicago Federation of Labor. I still am. Was also given the opportunity to teach part-time, a jumpstart program, which basically helps people that's interested in becoming an electrician learn brush up on their skills with the math, the algebra that I was talking to you about, the mechanical comprehension, and the paper folding. So really quick, what paper folding is, it is you take a sheet of paper, they'll fold that paper 1, maybe 2 times, they'll punch a hole in it, and then they will ask you, when you open up the paper, where will those holes lie? That basically lets the contractor know that you are able to visualize where things are supposed to be placed without them actually being there. Because that's what you'll be doing when you look at a blueprint. The blueprint will give you what elevations, what depth, what's this, what's that, and you have to be able to visualize how everything will sit and make sure that you're not running into other issues that may come along the line. So those are all of the things that I really did. I did all of those things also while having 2 kids. Daycare is another thing that you will have to go through if you do have children. So it's important to have all of those things situated. And you also have to know and understand that we work all year round, a lot of the trades. We work in the rain, we work in the snow, the cold, the heat, high altitudes. We get dirty. Some days are dirtier than others. Some days are harder than others, but most of the time we always hump. And other days we hump harder. So we wake up early in the morning, the crack of dawn. Most of the jobs start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you may have to travel to Orland or O'Hare or, far out, depending on where that contractor placed you. So you might have to get up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., depending on where you actually live. So these are all things to look at. It is a process. It took me about a year to start my apprenticeship program. And that was with the application fee, getting ready for my aptitude test, the jump start, and waiting on them to let me know that I actually got in, the orientation, which is a workout. We have to be physically fit. So we work out a lot. We jog, we run, we lift weights, all of that stuff. So it's very important to condition your body. And if you really are looking forward to getting into the trade, you have to watch what you eat. Lay off of the chips, the pops, all of those things, drink plenty of water. Make sure you get your fruits and your vegetables and really condition, because if I eat a burger today, you're going to feel it when you get ready to climb up on a 12-foot ladder, on an extension ladder, or, something like that.
Well, thank you, Jamila. But bottom line, you stay focused. You keep your eye on what that achievement is going to be, and you walk out with a great benefit. And congratulations on your new position over there at Cisco. We're going to now have the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, AFL-CIO Local 9, Kevin Shustner.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
How are you guys?
Yeah.
You get this little slide thing that pops up here.
Yes, we'll go to the next.
Problems. You could just walk down the street here, man, and come to the house.
Sound on this thing. So I'm going to turn this sound up a little bit here. Yeah, so Local 9's been around for since 1892. Yeah, so it's there's a lot of facets of IBW Local 9, what we do for our guys and girls. It's this is just some of the municipalities that we work with. As we also have the contractor side. So when we're getting new apprenticeships, new journey workers, new applicants that come in here, so we have they have to take a reading, writing, comprehension test, and we encourage all of our members to have a Class A CDL driver's license is the best. And then we partner up with Olive Harvey over here. So there's they get the CDL class through them. The reason why we have to get the CDL is because they drive a lot of line trucks, heavy equipment out on the job sites. That's what's the difference. Next slide, please. That would be great. So you can see the facets of the work. So we have street lighting, traffic signal, directional boring. We operate our own equipment in Local 9. We're smaller local. You know, the number said 2,700 on the last slide. You know, I think we've grown. We got to be at 3,200 right now. We put a lot of new guys and girls out on the streets in the last year, I'd say. So we got to run another set of numbers here, but we're definitely been growing over the last few years for sure. And it's a great opportunity for everybody to get into the local. It's I actually had one of my girls that came over. She was actually dipping chocolate. She works, her parents own a candy shop. So she does all this and she gets in, and now she's actually works for John Burns Construction Company as a general foreman, running the whole smart lighting project. And I got 2 daughters, and it's like, people are like, this is not for me. This is man's work. Or no, it's not. Our girls rock this out. We're always a shortage of girls. And it's like, as soon as they realize I can do this, absolutely can do it. And they thrive too. The girls thrive. They do so well. And when I have girls work on the job site with me, they would, I hate to say it with the guys, but you know, the girls do it exactly the way. There's no ego. There's no nothing there that goes along with it. And they'll actually show me like, hey, this is actually a different way. And it usually works out pretty good. You know what I mean? How it works with the girls are. Yeah. So over street lighting, traffic signal, overhead distribution, fiber optic cabling, and then small cell technology. That's 5G technology. So we're constantly evolving in the local. It's not like we're just doing basic electricity, like supplying power to people's homes. We are also doing a lot of other cutting edge technology. Down to they have is smart lighting that's in the city of Chicago with gunshotters. What do they do? They have is if there's a gunshot in the city of Chicago, the lights will dim. They will dim when they're and they get closer all around, and they brighten up as closer to the shot is. Have you guys ever seen this technology go? It's really incredible how the wave of the future is going over here. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I mean, going back, the line clearance, water reclamation, so all the pumping stations going on out in the middle of Lake Michigan, pumping out to the suburbs, that's all with us. Transit work, CTA work, you know, third rail signal. So I just had a couple, that's why I was running a couple of minutes behind here, because they had a couple new apprenticeships getting out of here, new guys coming on. And it's like, they get like, they're so diverse and so many, one guy might not like, I don't like climbing 500 feet in the air. Okay, I gotcha. But, you know, you can do street lighting, traffic signal work is going to fit your bill, right? So, or you know what? Maybe you're going to work at the 911 center over here. Maybe that's a better fit for you. So everybody is, it's a different, yeah, like 31 flavors. Maybe we got like whatever you guys want to do. It's fantastic, you know. All right, next slide, please. So these guys over here, see these guys, that guy's cowboying over here is on the side of the transmission arm. And some people are like, I can't do that, no way. But there's other work to do. If you look at these other guys up on that slide up there with that, the green hard hats pointing, they're in a relay station over there working for the CTA. They're CTA guys working for doing the signal work over there. They're not climbing up. They'll be on the structure, but 30 feet above. But those guys are working in the bungalow over there doing the relays for operating the switching. And the slide beyond there, when you got this mosey neighbors looking over at these guys as they're bending over them, they were doing some high voltage splicing down there in somebody's backyard. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. Yeah. So here, this goes back to the requirements over here. So Class A CDL permit with air brake endorsement. We recommend you get the CDL driver's license. You can fill out the application to when the apprenticeship opens up. We're anticipating probably springtime because we just closed our apprenticeship. But we tell people get the license because it's more of a demand to put you out. And when you go out and when you work, out in the field, you're more useful to the contractor. So you could drive the vehicles out there. So when layoffs come, they're usually get rid of them. They lay the people out without the CDL driver's license. Does it make sense? And then you have your DOT medical card, resume, GED, and go from there. And that's what we do. Next slide, please. Yeah, so here we are. So you're going to get is you got to get your aptitude test, your written test that you're going to go to. And you got to pass with a 70% above. And then you get invited after you hand your application with your CDL and all that stuff, your medical card, you hand it on, and the school will say, all right, Susie, show up on this date. This is when we're going to give the reading and writing comprehension test. Make sure you're able to read and write everything. After you pass with a 70% above, then you go to the agility test, which is, are you physically fit to do the job? So you go to one of our concentras and, you'll do like a pull weight sled around. There's a grip test, things like this to make sure it's a good fit for you guys and us. And then you get placed on the apprenticeship list. I get the list. I have one here. I've been dispatching people off of this. And I go down the roster as feel fit and it, depends. I need a person from the city. I need a person from, I need a guy out in the suburbs somewhere. I need whatever it is. And that's how we go off the list. Next slide, please. Yeah, so our apprenticeship is a 4-year program here. You get your classroom time. You see these guys here, they're bending some pipe. The next slide down, if you see the guy with the glasses there, he's doing small cell technology splicing for all that stuff. So he's getting that going on. And then you got the next slide is these guys are all around here about ready to set a traffic signal pole. They call it a mast arm. The traffic signal goes up and it hangs over onto the traffic over here. And then the next slide that you see on there, the guy over here is their directional boring. They're operating that shoots a rod under the ground. And it pops up and they like thread the needle. Comes out one side. So if you're going underneath the parking lot, you could place the cable underneath the ground without ripping up the whole parking lot. It's really incredible technology they have. It's really good because there's actually a shortage of everybody. If I had some boring guys, boring girls, boring anything, it'd be, I know there's boring people out there, but I need directional boring folks that do our work. And it's amazing. And that's just the quality of life that you get out of this. It's incredible. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we got our benefit package here. Let me get one of these wage sheets here. Yeah, so there's a health insurance. You qualify for your health insurance after 160 hours that you get. And let's see here. But yeah, the brand new apprentice that comes through here, when they get everything set up, they start out at $22.96, I believe, an hour here. Just gave me this package. $22.62 is what's a brand new rate is. We just actually got a raise here, so these numbers are a little bit off. But we'll go off of these. They're off a couple things. So now you start at $22.62 instead of $21.96. We'll go off of these. So after you get your 1,000 hours in, you complete your safety classes, then you bump up to the next wage and the next wage, and you get things set up over here. It's cut off. The slide is cut off on. Where does it see the last total package here? Where's the second step? Next slide, please. Yeah, so the journeyman wages over here, $54.90 an hour. Well, now it's up more now. It's at $56.55 an hour. I got to update that. My office manager hasn't updated that yet because it just happened. So, it's a fantastic wage and benefits over here. I mean, you got a great retirement. You have your health insurance is covered. It's unbelievable how things work. Next slide. What do we have on the next slide there?
No, you're wrapping it up right now.
That's it? Is that how am I wrapping it up? So how do I, I could talk forever about this stuff, but yes, it's, the apprenticeship is going to probably anticipate in the springtime. So please get us out there. And if we spread the word that we need journey workers, we need people in the trades, we need people from the neighborhoods. We need people from all walks of life. There's a labor shortage on here. And I don't want to talk anything about college, but college does what they do, but it's also big business. And I know I did a couple of job fairs at a college, university, and it's like a lot of these guys just don't know what they want to do with their life. And it's like, even like high school kids, it's like, give the trades a shot for a couple of years before you go through college, because they think that it's I have a daughter that's 17, and they think it's the end of the world if they don't know what they're doing exactly at 17. And it's like, just relax. It's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You got your whole life ahead of you. Try some things out. If it doesn't work, you try another thing out, and you're going to figure it out. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. And thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you so much. And we're here to, whatever we need, just reach out to us. What we're anticipating in the springtime for the apprenticeship to open up. And if you guys put a note on that, and you have my number here, and let's get things followed up, and let's get some people to work. It's the best gratification when you can change somebody's world that's in this career path. And when they have babies and they do all this stuff, and they got great health insurance, and they got a great house, and they got a nice car, and it's definitely a blessing for sure.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing and participating today. We're going to go back to the Chicago Federation of Labor. I see where Don Valera has now joined us. Don. And Don, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Again, Don Villar, Secretary Treasurer here at the Chicago Federation of Labor. My apologies for getting on late. I was at a funeral of somebody who was very important to the labor movement here in town. And the Chicago Federation of Labor, a lot of people here know who we are. We represent we're the union for all the unions. So our brothers and sisters in the building construction trades that have spoken here, they're members of the CFL. And then as well as the manufacturing industrial unions, our public sector unions, and our service sector unions. So all in all, about 500,000 union members across Chicago and Cook County. So that's about like one out of every 5 workers in the city and the county. They're a member of the labor unions. They're union members, and the union members, a labor job makes a difference for so many people, right? A union job typically averages between 20-30% more than a non-union job in wages. So where you could really build a life in the future. And as some of in the building construction trades, that range could be far greater. Like a union worker could make twice as much almost as a non-union worker, double. So that's so critical because it's important for families and for our communities to work in these, to get these jobs, to be able to support themselves and support their families and support their communities, and that is so critical. So, but in our city, I mean, 1 out of every roughly 5 workers in our city is a member of a union, and then they go back to their communities and they support their communities. So the Chicago Federation of Labor and all our unions are committed to diversity and to justice and social justice. That's the basis of our founding. I mean, we are celebrating 125 years at the CFL, 125 years of working on behalf of social justice of workers across the city for over the past 125 years, raising people up from poverty and building communities. And that is the history of the Chicago Federation of Labor. I mean, you think about the laws that support, that the laws that workers live under today. And those are laws and policy, public policy that the Chicago Federation of Labor and all our unions working together collaboratively at the Federation have helped pass. mean, we were born out of, the fight for a weekend and an 8-hour day, because about 10 years after the Haymarket, roughly 9 years after the Haymarket is when we were founded, and shortly after the Pullman strike, which we'll be celebrating this weekend. I mean, we get Labor Day because of the events that happened here in Chicago, Pullman down on the South Side, and how people there struggled again for justice, for respect, for dignity. In that scenario, just a little bit of history. Pullman decided, hey, he's going to cut people's wages and raise their rents. Right? They cut their wages and raised their rents because everybody down in Pullman, they lived at the company housing, they shopped at the company store, and they worked for the company. And then from that point, it's like, at Pullman, you had so many other trades. You had the building construction trades, you had some skilled craftsmen, you had women working in an upholstery shop, and like these, tens of thousands of workers who went on strike because of the injustice that they were facing over in Pullman. Again, the fact that they're being treated as cogs and just the utter disrespect. So from that's where we were born, out of that struggle, the struggle for value for working people, the struggle for justice, and that struggle we continue today. So throughout our history, 125 years, we've always fought for better wages and working conditions for all workers in Chicago, and then for retirement security, and for being a more inclusive, encompassing movement. During the early part of the labor movement, 100 years ago, the CFL, we were a leading voice for diversity, for inclusion, for lifting up our people of color who are working here in Chicago in the various industries. The CFL and the labor movement, we were there leading that struggle, leading that call for justice and equity. And we continue to do that today. And it is so great to, what we're doing. I'm not sure if Jay Rowell with Hire 360 has spoken yet, but the efforts and the initiatives that we have here at the CFL to make sure that folks aren't left behind. Right? People in our neighborhoods and the west and south sides are underserved neighborhoods, and how every day we work to bring people up, to raise people up, to raise standards for all workers. So that's the Chicago Federation of Labor. Again, with myself and President Bob Reiter, President of the CFL, we work towards that goal. And there's so many opportunities. As you've heard from our brother from IBW and our building construction trades, how there's opportunities in the future, and how we're working closely to make sure that we provide these opportunities for folks who've been underserved and left behind. So we love what you're doing here, and trying to connect folks to these jobs. And Chicago, I think you're part of the discussion here is about the railways, and Chicago is the railway hub of the country. And besides building union members building out the railway infrastructure, union members are also working the railway infrastructure, from our ATU, our Amalgamated Transit Workers Union, and our Teamsters, our Teamsters Brotherhoods, our railway brotherhoods, SMART, and all the other Smart Transportation, and all the other unions that are in that space. Again, making sure that the workers there in our railway infrastructure, our transportation infrastructure, are making a living wage, a wage that they could support their families and build a future, have retirement security, and continue to live a good life, thanks to the struggles of the labor movement. I mean, and the railway industry is a great example of, because our labor movement was built on the railway industry, per se, because one of the first strikes in Chicago, 1877, the Great Railway Strike. And that encompassed so much, not just rail, but folks in our building construction trades and industry in the early part of Chicago. So it's so important that how even like 140 years later, rail is still such an important part of our city. So, sorry. Okay. This got missed there, interrupted there, but so that's the labor movement in Chicago, the Chicago Federation of Labor, and it's great to be standing in solidarity with our brothers and sisters of the building and construction trades who've spoken today, and we're and the solidarity that we build really helps lift up our city, right? This great solidarity between labor and community, and how that's lifting up these neighborhoods, which have and giving people opportunity. So this is such a great program that you created. So thank you.
Thank you, Don. We greatly appreciate it, and giving us some historical insight on some things. But again, thank you. I know that you were tied on a call, and we appreciate it, both you and Marcus. Now we're going to go to our next speaker, which is Hire 360's representative, Executive Director, Jay Raoul.
Well, good morning. Nice to be with you all today. Thank you, Alicia, for the invitation. And look forward to kind of covering, you've heard a lot about some of the wonderful apprenticeship programs and those opportunities. And I want to tell you a little bit about Hire 360, which is a partnership of the largest trades, developers, and GCs, all with the goal of supporting candidates and helping them on the process of applying. So if you could move to the next slide. So real quick, Hire 360 kind of began out of about 3 different tables that were meeting in 2017 and 2019. You had some of the Chicagoland Associated General Contractors put some of the largest developers, trade unions, and general contractors together to talk about meeting the mayor's 26 and 6 executive order. So having 26% diverse contractors, 6% female, and a 50% residency goal on projects that the city touched, and how the industry could work together to meet that goals. At the same time, you had Lori Healy, who put together a public sector table when she was running McCormick Place to talk about how the public sector could do more for providing opportunities to community and construction. And then lastly, as you heard Don Villar mention, the Chicago Federation of Labor had already worked with Cisco, the North American Building Trades here in Cook County, a number of other partners to bring a successful workforce program and pilot it called WRTP Big Step with a lot of the support of the United Way. So we mushed kind of all 3 of these efforts together into what became Hire 360 and then launched in January of 2020. And I would just say trying to launch a new workforce-focused nonprofit in the middle of the global pandemic is not really the best time to do all of this. It's been hard sledding with a lot of slowdowns in the construction industry, and a number of the apprenticeship programs understandably closed, but have made some really good progress helping candidates get into the different programs. So if you could move to the next slide. So why did these partners kind of come together to do this? Well, we have about $100 billion worth of mega projects that are coming to the Chicagoland area over the next 15 years, including a lot of these great railroad projects that you guys have been talking about and learning about today. Combined with that, you have a lot of the different apprentices, different trades. The average age in some of them are moving into 50 years old. So you're going to have a number of retirements. And then there's the increased participation goals that I just mentioned from the city. So you've got increased participation, retiring workers, and a huge number of projects all coming together, which is going to lead to more apprenticeship opportunities in the years to come. And so it's really a great time for underrepresented populations to get into the trades. If you move to the next slide, please. So this is just shows you we're a partnership of the largest developers, GCs, philanthropies, general contractors, and trades unions in Chicago. Next slide. Here's our board of directors. It's very much, we're an industry-led organization, and our board reflects that, as well as our diverse mission. Our board reflects that as well. And so does, on the next slide, our team. And here we are at our warehouse, which is under construction, but that's most of the folks that are on our team today. So what does Hire 360 do? Our nice logo behind me here or on the slide has 4 colors, each one representing one of the pillars that we're focused on. And the idea is that as an industry, if we do all of these things jointly together, we can really make a dent in this issue of making sure the community is connected to construction. So we have a workforce development component. We're scaling up diverse contractors. We're working to diversify the supply chain, and then also have a program working with Chicago Public Schools to get more exposure to the trades. So next slide, please. So as you heard, you can go and apply today with a number of the different apprenticeship programs that are opened up, and which we strongly encourage you to do. You can also work with Hire 360, and our goal on our workforce development program is to just help people each step along the way with applying for one of the different trades programs. So we've worked quite a bit with Local 9 and help folks apply for that program, help people get CDLAs so they can be in good shape for that. We have an orientation with Local 150, which you heard from today, which has over 100 people registered for that. So I'll kind of get through some of the things that we do to help people with this, but your journey really begins on one of our landing pages, which I can put in the chat. Our main one at hire360chicago.com, and individuals fill out an assessment form here, and we have some with the CTA, Obama Presidential Center, or Project Hood, and we do these specifically with our partners so that way we can send out really detailed Salesforce reports to each one of them so they know what's going on with each one of the candidates that they sent to us. But individuals apply, and then we see if you basically meet the general requirements to be in the trades, which I won't go into because I know other people have already covered that. And if you don't, then we connect you with partners that can help you with some of those barriers. But if you generally are work ready, if you go to the next slide, we then put you on this path. So you apply on our site, which I put in the chat box, and then we do an orientation on the trades. So all of the benefits of it, which you've already heard a lot about, and as well as some of the challenges, right? Working outside, the cold weather, construction slows down in winter. So go through all of that. Then we do a lot of tours and talks by industry leaders, trade union leaders on the apprenticeship programs. Then we have everybody basically take the sample test. The vast majority of the trades programs require a score on an aptitude test. And after you complete that, then you move on to applying for the trade. So you meet one-on-one with one of our caseworkers. We kind of go through how you scored on the test, what barriers you may have that we can help you with and how we can do that, and what are one of the programs that are open right now that you're interested in, because each one of the different trades programs opens at a different time, all based off of the demand in the industry. And so that way we try to tell you about which programs are open that you might be interested in applying for. So once you've kind of picked something, we then put you into about 12 hours of our test prep. It's really focused a lot on the math, spatial reasoning components. We're doing this all online at this point. And then we have proctored online study halls where people can do lots of fractions, spatial reasoning tests, other things like that. And then Mia Berry, who runs all of this for us, will then go through and grade them and give people pointers and tips. We also have a partnership with the Chicago Teachers Union Foundation, have about 10 Chicago teachers that are on contract to then provide additional tutoring and supports with people to help them for it. And then we help candidates apply for the apprenticeship application, including, telling you what days to go, what stuff you need, and then pay for test fees and things of that nature. So then next, we make sure you're apprentice ready, help with a lot of soft skills, resume workshops, mock interviews. We have job clubs to learn about opportunities. And then we work with our contractor partners to help find sponsorship opportunities depending on how the different program is put together. We also have a barrier reduction fund where we are buying people their first set of tools, boots. We've paid for childcare, transportation, all sorts of stuff. I've already given out well over $200,000 to help people remove financial barriers to their getting into an apprenticeship program. We pay for some of the apprenticeship programs where the apprenticeship school is unpaid. We can provide stipends for that and things of that nature to help people move along. And we just started our mentorship program. So we're connecting our first 5 mentors with 5 mentees that we've helped get into different programs, and then work to reconnect people to work. You can move to the next slide. So real quick, some of the benefits are there's no cost to participants. We help individuals apply with about 12 hours of test prep, proctored study halls, additional tutoring, mentoring, connections to job, and we can cover costs to help remove financial barriers for boots and clothing, tools, transportation, different fees. We can pay for back dues too for individuals who are returning for the trades and things of that nature. Next slide, please. And then for a lot of our partners, we have really robust reporting all in a Salesforce database where we can give maps out, like we're working a lot with the Obama Presidential Center, and they haven't really broken ground yet, but we've helped with our partners get 33 people placed, and we can map it by ward, state rep, neighborhood, all this stuff. So that way there's great information going back to our partners to make sure that they're helping to meet their mission. Okay, moving on to the next slide. I know we're here to talk about workforce today, but just real quick, we'll touch on the 3 other pillars of what we're working on. So we're working to scale up diverse contractors. We're working currently with 85 diverse contractors. Very excited. 8 of the contractors we're working with just won bids at the Obama Presidential Center, and have a number of tools to help diverse contractors. If you go to the next slide, we have very uniquely our own loan pool where we raised about $855,000 through private donations, a lot of our wonderful trade union partners, general contractors, and developers, and then have been using it to credit enhance loans. So that way small diverse contractors can get working capital so they can scale up on projects. One of the contractors we've working with literally, had all the talent and skills, but it could only bid on $50,000 projects because that's all the money he had to float as payroll and his material costs. And really proud to say that he has now gone on to, he just won an $8 million contract out at the airport because he finally had the access to capital, allowed him to scale up. Since getting our loan in the end of 2019, it's gone from 6 employees to 19. We have a number of other firms that have similar track records. We do a lot of back office support. We're paying right now for an accounting firm to update the financial records for 20 firms so that way they can qualify for working capital and cheaper insurance. We do all sorts of estimating trainings and all sorts of good stuff like that. But it's not really what we're here to discuss too much. So going on to the next slide, we're also working on the supply chain. We're helping create the first Black-owned paint distributor, Black-owned flooring, and to connect a lot of the great diverse supply chain partners that are out there. There's about 220 diverse firms in the area to our general contractor and developer partners, so that way they can work with them. And then lastly, we also have a youth engagement program that we're starting to roll out, and thrilled to be working with Cisco and CPS and the mayor's office and other folks on an event at McCormick Place to help expose about 3,000 CPS students to the trades, and are going to be working with a number of faith-based institutions here going forward to try and identify some young people who are interested in the trades and get them on the path. And we, one of our partners, Otis Elevator Company, just partnered through connecting them with Michelle Clark, and they're going to be the only high school in America that will be competing for an international prize with Otis. They get $5,000 if they win it for the school, and it's all about a STEM education program. So excited about the work there. And then lastly, and I promised Alicia I'd go real fast through all of this, so I'm sorry if I spoke like the Micro Machines guy and half of what I'm saying kind of got lost in translation. But right now, everything that we're doing with Hire 360 is virtual. With our recruitment, test prep, the barrier reduction fund, and all of the business supports. But we are right now, renovation has begun at our training center, which will be a 40,000 square foot training facility at 26th and State. The roof is being ripped off and replaced right now. We're excited to have solar panel that will go up with IBW 134 and cohorts on the roof. There's a whole section with Unite Here, which is one of our partners, which I didn't really touch on. We recruit also for culinary positions. They'll have 2 industrial kitchens in there. We're putting in a daycare so that way participants, in any of our programs that, had childcare as a barrier, they can have their kid watched while they're going to some of the training programs. There'll be a gym in there to help meet with some of the physical requirements and things of that nature. So look forward to doing that all there. So I hope if you're interested in the trades or any of the things, you can go and here's my email address, or you can sign up at hire360chicago.com, and we'll get you on the pipeline to apply for some of these great apprenticeship opportunities that are open like right now. IBEW 134 is taking applications, Local 150 is taking applications, the Sheet Metal Workers 265 is taking applications. I mean, there's a ton of things that are finally open up, which is really exciting because they were understandably not open due to COVID. So it's really awesome to see the industry coming back, and then very excited about all these potential opportunities with the railroads. So thank you very much for having me. Thanks, Alicia, for bringing us on. And that's it.
Thank you, Jay. Greatly appreciated. A ton of information. I am going to defer now and go back to Mr. Sam Tuck, who is with IDOT, who would like to say a couple of words, please. Sam? Hello, Sam. Okay, well, Sam must be having some technical difficulties, but there is a gentleman that is on the session, Mr. Michael Kowalczyk, and he'd like to say a couple of things, please, regarding some programs that you're aware of. Michael?
Hey, good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hey, this is Sam. I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me real quick?
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I just wanted to say this real quick. Everything that we heard was great. We have a representative. Mike, I want to give you a proper introduction from FHWA. I mentioned that we're going to have future grants coming out, and I think we're moving in the right steps. As we can see in this presentation, keywords is next step and alternative paths. So we need to be prepared. COVID is here to stay, but we're going to still have to get back and be able to function. We're going to have to adapt to it. And when these doors start opening up, we're going to learn how to move in a safe way, but we need to go ahead and be prepared. So from all the speakers, thank you. But I want you to hear from FHWA. They're on the phone. Thank you, Mike, for joining us, and just give his thoughts on how we're heading.
And thanks for the opportunity, Sam. And I'll be really quick. First and foremost, what a wonderful morning of presentations. I appreciate everybody who took time out of their day, not only to present, but also to be here to listen. I'm very happy that we recorded this. I have been seeing the chat pod with questions, so I don't want to spend too much time. Love for everyone to be able to answer those questions that folks have on the phone. Again, happy that we recorded this. I think a great is messaging with a few people in the CREATE program. I think putting this up on the website would be a wonderful thing, such that you can share this with your friends and family. From the participants list, looks about 20 or so people on the phone that are really interested in this presentation. Please take that back and share it with one or two friends or family members, and continue this growth of getting people into the job market, into the unions. I think everyone has talked about the need for labor right now, and the need for wonderful people to come in that want to do an amazing job in the labor market. And with the various grants, with the infrastructure bill, if you see some of that information that's being floated around Washington, there's a tremendous amount of money. Chicago puts itself very well competitively out there because of the railroads, because of our great infrastructure, because of being the railroad hub of America, and being a regionally and nationally significant area for rail traffic and freight. But we also have just the most amazing workers out here. And again, we talk about during the project development process, CREATE always has taken into account environmental justice. CREATE, for those that know a lot about it, a lot of the projects are located on the south and west sides of Chicago. We're always looking at projects that will improve the life of folks on the south and west sides. And that environmental justice, we want to come in here and build a project that helps you get from school to work to church, you know, helps your business strive, helps your family's business, and everyone getting the ability to go out there and just continue to make a better life for yourself. And this, you know, presentation is a great first step to get our name out there and get you into the labor force, get you into the unions to continue that project development process. And when I say that, it's the planning, environment, design, and construction phase. You know, we talk about environmental justice a lot in the planning and design phase, and that environmental justice can translate into the construction phase by getting people out into the workforce to make a better life for themselves. So again, a lot of opportunities out there in terms of money coming in from the federal government for hopefully some projects. We have to go through the discretionary grant process and put in applications to secure those grants. So I can't promise anything on the phone right now, but what I can promise is the folks in the CREATE program that you've heard from this morning, they are always looking out for the best interest of Chicago and trying to get these projects built. And opportunities arise when these grants come in for a multitude of people, and getting in the labor market is just one of those things that everyone was listening to today. So really appreciate the couple minutes that I had to talk, and you know, I'll sit in the back and kind of watch some of the questions and how those are answered, and help in any way, shape, or form. Thanks, Sam, and thanks, Alicia, and thanks to all the presenters and everyone here listening.
Thank you, Michael. Now we're going to have a brief introduction from Melinda Kelly regarding the next steps and the alternative pathways in workshop 2. And then we will circle back to questions and answers. Hello, Melinda.
Thank you, Alicia. I'll be brief, just like Michael Wilson, and in between the important questions. I hope that everyone joins us for the second workshop that will follow this workshop at 12:30. You've heard a lot of information today, but what about the businesses and the people and the companies who feel they're not quite union ready? As part of the CSX and Parson Design team member, we were asked to develop a hiring plan for P3 and GS19 stages 1 and 2 on behalf of the 75th Street SIP project for the CREATE program, in anticipation of the jobs that you've heard about today and the opportunities. What we did was we were asked to identify organizations that can support alternative pathways for folks getting into the trades. So we were able to, you heard a lot from folks about the math skills and the reading skills. So we were able to identify a workforce partner right there in Inglewood, who through our pilot program helps some of our residents improve their skills amidst that COVID environment with some additional support. On the academic side, they're right there in the community. They do great work. We just want to plug them into the CREATE. So if you're not quite comfortable with that, or you need some support, they're there. And we all know it's important to everybody coming out of COVID and high unemployment, that while you're trying to figure out or customize your pathway, be it to construction, be it to employment, be it to entrepreneurship, you need to have programs that pay you, and corporations are willing to do that if you're willing to walk that pathway with us. So this pilot program that we're going to talk about later today, you'll hear from the panelists, or you're going to hear from another organization out of Inglewood who focuses on helping returning citizens. We want to make sure that we leave no person behind. We know it's important that we generate a diverse pipeline of talent for the CREATE participating companies. And we hope that you will join us on the second half of the workshop that starts at 12:30 and join this great group of panelists as we talk about alternative pathways, models that companies can take as we get ready for this infrastructure bill That's not going to only encompass the creator, transportation, electric cars. There's a lot coming. So it's really an exciting place to be in Illinois, looking for a job, build your company, or improve your skills. And so I can't wait for the second half, and I hope you all will join us.
Thank you, Melinda. I can't wait either. I'm real excited. And next, we're going to open for questions and answers. I'm going to let Melissa Williams.
Hello, everyone. If you have any questions, please drop them in the question and answer or in the chat portion. I see a couple of questions that were asked earlier have been answered, but if you do have any additional questions, now is the time. You have the individuals here that are able to answer those questions. I know it was a thorough presentation, but I know it may be some questions.
Are there any questions that some of our CREATE partners may have? I'd like to briefly go back to Jay Raoul. Jay, you are mentioning that your organization assists individuals in paying for some of the costs of applications. Could you go into a little bit more detail?
Sure. I'm sorry, you kind of broke up a little bit on my end. So the question was to go into a little bit more detail on the application for Hire 360.
That you all cover the cost for application that might be assessed by some of the various unions.
Yeah, so we have a barrier reduction fund, and we're happy to cover the costs for the apprenticeship programs for whatever the fees, pay for transportation to apply, help people through every step of the process, and then even pay stipends for candidates if an apprenticeship program is unpaid. So we have about 8 candidates who just got into a Teamsters local, and we're paying a stipend to them each week to make sure that they can afford to go through the program. So yeah, we have a great barrier reduction fund, and we'd be happy to do that for candidates.
Thank you. That's fabulous. It's almost taking it down to no cost whatsoever in applying for these positions and getting into the apprentice programs with the various unions. That's fabulous. And you also just mentioned transportation. Costs may also be offset as well.
Yeah, I mean, we got someone into a position as a carpenter, and China Hampton, who runs our workforce program, literally called the person a lift every morning for the first 2 weeks of their program, and then we covered the cost for it. So I mean, we'll pay for all sorts of stuff as long as it's in line with one of the apprenticeship programs that you're working with.
Thank you.
And Keith, I would like to thank you for pointing out the questions from earlier, but it appears as if those have already been answered, but I will address them again. Jamila, if you are still on, Jamila, I'm sorry. If you're still on, can you address these 2 questions? Dates for applications for the various unions. And do you have to take tests to get into the program? And are there any programs directed towards high school students?
All righty, let's see. So as of right now, the IBEW Local 134 is accepting applications. If you go to cisco.org, it will tell you how you can go about applying. I believe it is every Wednesday from 9 to 11 at 6201 West 115th Street. They are doing a $50 non-refundable application fee payable to EJAC. They will also be looking for a valid driver's license, high school transcript, GED or high school diploma. I might be missing a couple of others, but if you go on cisco.org, it will fill in the rest of the ones that I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was one about an aptitude test. Do I have to test to get into the program?
Yeah.
I think that question was asked when the laborers were presenting. So the laborers is a sponsorship. You don't have to actually take an aptitude test for that. So you will have to actually, and John, if I'm wrong, please jump in. I'm still learning. But what you will have to do is find a contractor that will sponsor you and actually give you that job, and then you will get indentured with the laborers. Now, it's very important once you figure out what trade that you want to go into, whether they do an aptitude test or if they do a sponsorship. The IBEW does an aptitude test. The laborers do a sponsorship. The painters do a sponsorship. I'm not sure if the carpenters do or not, but again, you will have to check and see what trade and what it takes to actually get into that specific trade. And the last question
was relative to, are there any programs where high school seniors can enter into?
Okay, so when you finish up your last year of school, then you will be able to go into whatever trade that you choose to go into, because they want that GED or that high school diploma. So it's very important to finish up. And then once you're at least 18 years of age, then you can go into whatever trade you choose to go into. But right now is when you really want to start learning what it takes to get into those trades. So start preparing yourself now.
Thank you for answering those questions. We do have another question in the box, and this is relative to Local 150. They had mentioned that there are scoring points that total of 25, 10 points for education, 10 points for work experience, and they just want clarity on what the remaining 5 points were towards. So if anyone from Local 150 is still available to answer that, they'll greatly be appreciated.
Yes, the remaining 5 points for letters of recommendation. My suggestion would be is if you know 2 Local 150 members who can detail your experience on machines, you can get 2 letters and that'll max out your 5 points. Otherwise, my suggestion would be 1 letter per point. And it can be from, an instructor, a shop teacher, an old employer, a current employer, whoever can detail your work experience on machines.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have another question here. It says, for labor union 2-year apprenticeship, how do you get a signatory contractor to sponsor you if you have no personal connections? Anyone from the laborers union, please?
You muted, John. Unmute yourself, John.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that usually leads to a job search where a potential candidate would be looking for contractors that they're interested in. We have 4 divisions of work that we do as laborers: road, underground, demolition, environmental. They'd be seeking out those contractors. Of course, as was mentioned today, Hire 360 does connect potential candidates with sponsors, contractors for sponsorship. So that's an avenue that looks readily available as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I see no further questions in the question and answers nor the chat.
I see one. I'm sorry. Is this only for high school students? No, it's not only for high school students. It's 18 years or older. I've seen some people actually start apprenticeships at the age of 60. So as long as you can meet the qualifications of what the trades are actually asking for, then they don't turn you away.
Thank you, Jamila.
I just wanted to, this is Alicia Garcia Abner, and I just wanted to reiterate that there is a number of benefits that have been mentioned today as far as why you want to look to a career in construction and also applying for the apprenticeship programs. Not only through their programs, but also the city, the state, local government generally has a number of goals that are set on contracts, which also assist in encouraging contractors to look out for that workforce, particularly in a particular area and or project location. Now, just to mention that this is CREATE, which is a federal program as well as a state program. But as such, there are minimum hiring goals set through the federal government that 19.6% of the total hours are minority workers for each trade category and 6.9% for women workers in each trade categories. Not to mention also, or to also remind everyone that when Lisa Cockerham from Dawson Technical Institution was talking about the program, there's also incentives there for contractors to hire graduates, in that contractors are reimbursed up to $15 per hour for hiring a Dawson graduate. So there's a number of there for contractors to look for qualified candidates, as well as for each individual to strive to be that qualified candidate. If we don't have any other questions or comments, I'm going to leave it open to the speakers. If you have any comments, we have a few more minutes before we close the program.
Alicia, I feel like it's here at in representing the railroad. I got to tell you, it was a pleasure with all the union representation on here and the program you put together. I thought it was very well done, and more importantly, you know, these jobs change lives. You know, I heard Kevin Shustner talk about that. It's funny, we actually live on the same block, so small world. But you know, these jobs, these opportunities that is being created by the federal government and the state and the city, for that matter, you know, they change lives, and I'm an example of that. Just like Jamila there, she, you know, I was a union guy, started in the ranks, pounding spikes, and here I am running, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars of projects across the country. And I'll tell you, if you put in the hard work, where if you noticed, for everybody that is interested in being a union tradesman and being a craft employee, everything that we heard today was about hard work. And if you put in hard work and you're dedicated to your craft and your passion, the sky is the limit. I try to tell all my new employees that you may be pounding spikes today, but in 30 years, you could be the boss of the boss of the bosses. So don't set your goals on just getting into the union. Set your goals higher than expectations and meet those expectations. And in this business, it's a dog eat dog world, and the strong survive. And they're the ones that make all the money. They're the ones that become all the bosses. They are the ones that carry the torch of America. And that's the main thing. America was built on union backs. And I will tell you that as this project goes forth and everything that we're going to do in the CREATE project, the spotlight is going to be on us. And this is a great project. And like I tell everybody that I touch and talk to and speak to, When I was a little kid playing Monopoly, I would have never thought that I was going to be able to build something on the B&O Railroad. And I'm going to be, currently, it's the biggest project in the B&O CSX Railway. So it's a great honor to be part of this. For you that are interested in being a union, the sky's the limit. Work hard and don't settle for what you did yesterday. Settle for what you're going to do tomorrow.
Fabulous. Thank you, Mike. Greatly appreciate that. Again, want to thank all of our speakers. Also our behind the scenes folks such as Melissa Williams, Danielle Thomas, Florence Cox, Esperanza Ramirez of our staff, and all those others that are out there. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. And please stay on for the next session of the workshop that Melinda Kelly with Melkel Group is going to host. Thank you, and you have a fabulous day.